What's up, everybody? Welcome back to TD Fans Talk. We are live, baby. We got the breaking news with Robert Quinn. I kind of knew about it earlier. I was just waiting on the details of what we actually got in return. And we have gotten rid of Robert Quinn. I'm not going to say gotten rid of. This was good for both teams, the Miami Dolphins and the Dallas Cowboys, basically relieving the Dolphins of almost about $13 million in cap space. So this was excellent. In our journey of what we've been trying to accomplish, getting rid of these expiring contracts if they're not young, making sure that we have this youth movement and go young and bring in young talent to develop and take us on that road to the Super Bowl. So that's the direction we're headed in. It's kind of no different from what Seattle did back in the day. Russell Wilson, Legion of Boom, all those guys when they were young. So we're going to definitely be looking out for how this actually ends up. But I love it, man. We knew this was going to happen with all the talks going around. We're really just trying to flip these things into asset because something big is coming, guys. Something big is coming. We're dropping all these salaries, but it's also not like, at the end of the day, we're dropping these salaries, but we still got to spend some money. I know we're going to spend money on draft picks, but we still have to spend some money. Chris hooked me up with some information, correction. Let me do a few corrections from the other day since I have a lot of fact checkers. But correction from the other day, you don't have to use 91% of the salary cap, as Chris is letting y'all know, but only 89 over the course of your 4 years. So that's how that basically works. And also another correction, I was saying that Xavier Howard had 3 picks by Sam Darnold alone. It was actually only 1 by Sam Darnold. 5 of his 7 picks last year were from bum quarterbacks. All 5 of them were from bum quarterbacks. The only other 2 that I didn't deem as a bum quarterback was Andrew Luck. He got 2 picks off of Andrew Luck as well. So that's to satisfy that correction. Let me see. Any more corrections? I don't think so. If it's something else that I missed or I misspoke, feel free to let me know in email or in chat, because when I'm wrong, I'm wrong. When I'm right, I'm right. So let me know when I'm wrong and make sure you acknowledge me when I'm right. So I appreciate those who sent me those. Cameron Cox, thanks for the donation. Appreciate you putting your love into the channel. Everybody who donated to this channel, I appreciate everything that y'all do, investing in this channel to basically help it continue to go and be even better and stronger as time goes. But we're gearing up, y'all. These are exciting times. I was going to do another video, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about it right now. Essentially, guys, the Dolphins actually aren't drafting. We don't have the 13th overall pick. Essentially, we don't have the 13th overall pick in my eyes. We actually have the 10th overall pick. Now, I'm curious if anyone even understand what I mean by that. Let me check on y'all before I explain, man. Who you think we drafting? We're about to talk about it. Derek Carr is not a bum. Bum, okay? I mean, ain't like he ain't finna lead his team to no Super Bowl. That's all that matters to me. What did we get for Robert Quinn? A 6th-round pick. We got a 6th-round pick. Expiring contract, older player, didn't have great production last year. It's a good steal for the Cowboys, but it also satisfies what the Dolphins were trying to do, and that's basically just unload that $13 million, 12.9 to be exact. Unload that. Only have to deal with $1 million in dead cap money. Just a beautiful salary cap situation for us. At the end of the day, we were trying to go young at the position anyway. We're gearing up. We're getting cap space and just a ton of draft picks. And that 6th-round pick is a 2020 pick, might I add, okay? That's going to be important with some of the stuff we talk about. Don't expect much this year. Go Hurricanes. I just took off my Hurricane shirt. What's up, man? Yeah? Oh, do I know where it is? It might be in storage. Okay. Our storage closet. Come on, Carter. Oh, it's not working? The battery's dead? Yeah. Okay, I'll look into it. I got it. No, I'll take it's in storage, so I have to get it. Carr is great. Okay. I do. You already know. Shout out to you, JD Diesel. Is it because 3 QBs would be taken before we pick? Exactly, Dill Pickle. Dill Pickle understands, man. Essentially, we actually have the 10th overall pick, and here's why. 3 quarterbacks are going to be taken within the first before us. Okay, that's a fact. Tell Hillary love the hair. Adam Alex said love your hair.
Thank you.
But 3 quarterbacks are going to be taken before we pick. Some might be like, so what does that have to do with anything? Because when you look at majority of the player rankings in this draft, the first quarterback taken this year is actually the 15th best player coming out of the draft. When we're talking about all positions. Now, we understand the importance of a quarterback, and that's why they're taken earlier. So somebody is going to take a quarterback before they take, from a player aspect, a better pass rusher in this draft. Okay? So these guys, based off of just players, forget the position, player ranking, the first quarterback coming off the board on average on everybody's rankings is about the 15th best player coming out of this draft. So when they're drafted before 13, that means we're getting a top 10 quality type player when we draft at 13. We're not getting the 13th best player in the draft. We're going to get a top 10 player in the draft because all 3 quarterbacks that are going to be gone by the time we get to 13 are not going to be better than the player that we actually select. If we do it right. Let me make sure now. If we get it right. If we select one of those top 10 players, it's going to be better. That player is going to be, should be, because we're not sure about draft picks. But those top 10 players, whoever we draft, should be better than any of those 3 quarterbacks selected before him. And we kind of save money from not having to move up on it. So will the Dolphins move up? In my eyes, they'll move up if they want one of those quarterbacks. They'll move up if the defensive tackle that they want is sitting right there, or the linebacker that they want, that's the 7th-ranked linebacker, is sitting there, and they want him. Like, they have to say, I want him. That's the only way they're moving up. Okay? Outside of that, they're staying put at 13, and they have a plethora of picks where they can go top O-lineman in the draft, one of the top 3 or 4 defensive tackles in the draft. If the linebacker is still there, the number 1 linebacker in the draft, they have the option of the number 1 or number 2 defensive end in the draft. Do you see where I'm getting at here? Because there's 1 running back and 1 receiver that's also going to be taken in that mix. I'm not looking to get a running back nor the receiver, but a running back and a receiver is going to go before 13. There is 1 running back and 1 receiver that will be drafted before 13 comes up. Okay? Their draft stock is number 5 and number 7 on average on the big board. Okay? Unless some debacle happens in this draft. But with those 2 off of the books and the 3 quarterbacks off of the books, technically you can move us up 5 spots and technically say we're going to get a number 8 overall talent on the defensive end of the ball or an offensive guard if that guard is still there, because it's slim with the guard position. I think there's only like 2 offensive linemen available in that, but there are a plethora of defensive tackles and defensive ends. They dominate this draft in the first 15 picks. In the first 15 picks, you heard it here first, you will see between defensive tackle and defensive end, half of the players selected will be a defensive tackle and a defensive end. In the first round, the first 15 picks, half of them will be from those 2 positions. You heard it here first. At least 7 of those guys are going to be DTs or DEs. Okay? And we have an opportunity to get one of those guys. We really do. I just love, though, it just depends. I'm curious on how creative they're going to get in this year's draft. Not next year's draft. I am solely talking this year's draft. How creative are we going to get? And here's why. We have so many assets now. Like literally, y'all, we're not rich with assets. We are wealthy with assets right now. I think that puts us at a total of about 13 picks, 13 draft picks next year. I think, if I'm not mistaken, your normal 7, about 4 compensatory picks. That's giving us possibly 11, plus these deals that we're getting picks from. We're literally at like 13, maybe even 14, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe even 14. And I'm curious this year, what are we going to do with those picks? Are we going to grab 3 or 4 of those picks? Are we going to grab 3 or 4 of those, package them with some of the ones we got now, and put us in even better positions? That's why I was, man, I'm not going to stretch. I mean, if it was me, here's the type of gambles I would take as a GM. And it doesn't mean it's the smartest gambles, y'all. I'll say that up front. But here's the type of gambles I would take. I would literally go ahead and get about 5 of those 56 round picks, jumble them up, and see if I can get another second round pick. I mean, and it doesn't even take that. I would say maybe, 2 4s and 2 5s to get a second round pick. Maybe I might be off there, but that's my thought process. I mean, that's what it might take. And I would get I would grab another second round pick for this year. Hey, who wants to give me their second round pick? As long as it's one of those early ones. And literally take that second round pick and ship off 2 4s and 2 5s for next year and say, hey, that's what we did all this sending off for. Then I would take that second round pick I got this year and the new one that I acquired, that's 2 second round picks, and I'll move up again in the first round this year. I'll get me 2 defensive studs, man. Go ahead and get you man, I would get 2 defensive studs in the top 15. First round. And what I'm saying with that is I got a first round pick defensive tackle in the top 15. I got a first round pick defensive end in the top 15. I got Minkah Fitzpatrick, who was my first round pick last year, top 15. I got Xavier Howard, who is a Pro Bowler. Now he's turning that corner. If it works out for him, oh my gosh. Do y'all see where I'm heading? I got Bobby McCain, who I really want in the nickel. Who's the highest paid nickel, who's been proving himself in that position for all y'all to be like, nah, Bobby, no, yeah. Bobby legit in the nickel. And now you have literally the youngest staple defense of core that any team could have. Of course, those first round picks got to work out. In my opinion, we know what Minkah is. He's going to work out in this league. Okay? Xavier Howard, I have my doubts, but great upside, Pro Bowler. The only thing that I do love about Xavier Howard in the Pro Bowl status, it gives him a little bit more wiggle room to play out there because he's a Pro Bowler now. The refs have to respect that. The refs have to think twice when they want to throw those petty calls. This is a star in the league. This is an entertainment league. We don't want to mess the league up by calling those petty ones on one of our stars now. That's the way things are. This is an entertainment business as well. Y'all got to think about that. Okay? That's what you call those calls that you earn the respect. And will he get it? Hopefully he does, because that'll say a lot about how the league views him. But anyway, but come on, y'all. And then the only gap you got is saying we still unsure about the linebackers. But hey, that's where you get creative. It ain't like Harris ain't coming back. So maybe you want to get the best defensive end and get the best linebacker and still hold out on the defensive tackle for now. I don't know. Or one of the young guys we get do turn out. But I'm just saying our starting focal point in our first round picks mixed with what we have now, we going to war next year. That, guys, our team elevates just from the defensive end, just like that. I don't care how bad Matt Burke was. Let's still call a spade a spade. Early in the season, the defense kept us in many of those games. And our shortcomings was Matt Burke. It's like you could see it. It was evident. So we know we have good building blocks. And then the only thing we lost on defense were the 2 players that were rendered non-effective for us anyway. And I hate to say it, but it's the truth. And that has a lot to do with Matt Burke, but Cam Wake and Robert Quinn, they weren't effective on the end rushing last year. And I'm not saying that's their fault, but at the end of the day, what did we really lose? What did we really lose? And then you have an opportunity to add some impact players day one. You already got receiver weapons. You already got good running backs that you feel like this is their chance, their opportunity. You already have those. You got a quarterback who can win you some games. And if he can be coached up to minimize those mistakes, he can actually have a resurgence. So, again, offensive line has to be addressed, but we would have a much better defense. Much better. Much better. And the reason why I'm just straight up avoiding that we're taking one of those three quarterbacks is because first of all, we'd have to move up to get one of those three quarterbacks. And as of today, the overall consensus is almost as if it's confirmed that they have the three teams that's going to be going after quarterbacks. If I'm not mistaken, it was Cincinnati, the Giants, Arizona, and one more. One more, actually, from my understanding, could take a quarterback, but they don't know yet. So we should use a 13th pick for someone like Ed Oliver. I agree, but he wouldn't be available at that point. He's not going to be available at that point. That's the issue with that. Or do you take one of those assets and go up and get your Ed Oliver? And then use some of those assets that you've been acquiring to move back up in the first. This is a draft. You cannot pass up this first round and all this defensive talent in the most important position in this NFL, which is rushing the passer, especially with the rules today, where receivers and everybody got all the rules in their favor. You have to get to the quarterback because that secondary is getting dangerous now. You can review non-calls on pass interferences. Oh, man. You know how many times people pass interference and it's like, oh, that was pass interference too. And it just don't get called and they punting? Man, it's going to be even harder for them DBs. So you got to get this pass rush game going, man. You have to. I know that Saints game, but it's bigger than that Saints game. It's bigger than that. It's the tic-tac. See, now a coach, I got to go look at the details on how many they can challenge. But now the coaches can look at the tic-tac ones that, hey, technically it's pass interference, even though in any real world, I wouldn't call it. But if you're reviewing it and you're looking on film, I mean, technically it is. They can't be saying, I mean, technically it is, but we're not calling that. No, you got replay. The whole world seeing it. They can't afford to get it wrong now, especially with betting involved. There's going to be so many new calls for pass interference like, oh, you didn't call that, throw the flag. First down. There's going to be so much of that. Rarely is a team gonna challenge a pass interference call that's not a pass interference call. Rarely. Like, that wasn't pass interference. I'm challenging that. That'll rarely happen. And then people are gonna be mad when a wide receiver initiates the contact and the DB finishes it off and they keep the call on the play that's pass interference. You ain't challenging if the other person did it. We're challenging if your guy did or not. You're trying to overturn. You see what I mean? So it's going to really be challenges of that was pass interference. It's going to be tough. This league, you got to get pass rushers now. Truth be told, we ain't got none. Truth be told, we have none. We have none. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong on that. We have none. Pass rushers, we have none. You can't skip up on a draft that's loaded with them and not go defense early. So, TD, are you saying you're going to settle for Tua? I don't even know why y'all think we going to draft Tua. I don't know why y'all think we going to draft Tua. Y'all. First, it was how many weeks did we hear about Kyler Murray and everybody wanting Kyler Murray? And now, you remember when TD started making them videos and y'all stopped listening to all this talk about Kyler Murray, but everybody that I watch or everybody in the media, Kyler Murray this, Kyler Murray that. Did I waste my time? Did I waste my time? What did I tell you? I told y'all every time, man, these are all speculations, this and that. Just stop listening to it. You are wasting your time. You are. You're wasting your time. And now what? Kyler Murray. Is anybody even talking about Kyler Murray anymore in Dolphins world? Let me know. Is anybody even talking about him anymore? But you wasted your time with it. Now it's on to Tua. On to Tua. What are you talking about? What are you talking about, man? Y'all act like it's guaranteed we gonna have the worst record in the league next year. Like we can suck next year and still don't have the worst record and still miss out on Tua. Like, come on. The only way we get Kyler Murray, the Miami Dolphins are literally going to be giving up assets to move up because they feel that that is our guy. I don't think that's the case right now, but if it is, I will support it. I'm going to be like, oh, we got Kyler Murray. We waste the assets. In Flores, we trust. These are the ones where if he gets to Kyler Murray and moves up for it, these are the ones where Greer and Flores go on the record. Because this is an early decision in their career that 3 or 4 years from now can mean both of them out the door. Not saying that'll happen, or they got the biggest extension ever. Who knows? But if that happens, that means we gave up assets to do it. And for me, for the 15th best player in this, and Kyler Murray wasn't even ranked number 15. He was ranked on average number 29. That's what a lot of people ain't talking about either. From the best player in this draft, Kyler Murray is ranked 29th. From the best player all the way down, he is 29th. It's just people got the buzz about him. Kyler Murray. So yeah, he's gonna go at a high pick. That's the price of a quarterback. That is the price of a quarterback, man. They're always going to be taking ahead of players that are better than them and more impactful, because if you need a quarterback, you need a quarterback. If you need it, you need it. So that's what's going on. But just imagine that, man. If we go get Kyler Murray, that means we reached. That means listen, that's embarrassing. That's the type of stuff that Bill Belichick look at and be like, they're going to suck for the next 15 years. Because a player who's ranked 29th, I couldn't see the Dolphins literally moving up, wasting other assets and their first-round pick to move up to go grab him, give him more stock just to grab him when he's a 29th worst player and falling into the fray of everybody else reaching on him, so we got to reach even further just to get him. That would be embarrassing to me. Of course, I'm going to support it. I'm going to ride behind Kyler Murray. Come on, kid. Let's follow your future. Hopefully it turns out great because I want to praise you. I want to be able to talk my noise about you. Talk about, hey, even say, man, at first I ain't feel you, but man, you rolling. That's what would happen. That's exactly what would happen. But I don't think at this point it's a smart move. But when it happens, you move on with those punches. You move on with it. And now, hey, let's support our team. So that's why I be trying to tell some of y'all too. No matter what the team does, I can sit on here and say, don't get Ed Oliver. And then we get Ed Oliver. It's not a, oh, we stupid, here we go. No, it's a, hey, let's see if this turns out. That's all it is, man. But I'm telling y'all, man, this draft is too loaded on the defensive end for impact players coming in the league right now to just pass up on that. Think about it, y'all. This don't happen always too. It's usually running backs, receivers, certain offensive linemen, or a rare defensive end. And then you got, man, your quarterbacks, all of that. But now you got a draft full of studs at defensive tackle, defensive end, full of them in the first 15. Full of them. You can't pass on that. You can't. And matter of fact, and my thinking is, if you get a chance, you got to package up some of those picks that you gathered and try to get a piece of that pie twice. Somehow. See if you can get in there twice. You see all this cap space we're saving? You can sign 2 first-round picks around that level. What, $8 million and a $6 million one? Or something like that? $8 million a year for a 13th pick? And if you can get in there twice, 2 $8 million contracts, this is what you're doing for. They're still low money. They're supposed to be impact players now. If they don't work out, they still on a rookie deal. You cut your losses when the time comes. Or, hey, you trade them out 2 or 3 years later and go get you another 5th rounder so you can start regathering for, hey, it might be a flood of this in this draft. You got to go defense. Will we go defense? TD don't know. I don't know what their thought process is. As far as I care, they can be literally saying we're going to give up the world for Kyler Murray and we're going to go number 1. I don't know. But my thought process is simple. You can't skip up on defense, not in the first 15, not in this draft. Not in this draft. All this talent, not smart. TD, you told me yesterday the best player at number 6 was a QB. The Giants on the board at 6, and that would be not be a QB. Well, I don't get what you're saying. I told you the best player on the board at 6 was a QB. No, I told you the one that was actually going to go at 6 is probably a QB. Don't mean they're the best player available. Doesn't mean, and if I spoke that way, then I misspoke. Doesn't mean that they're the best player available. But that's what's going at number 6. They already got the Giants slated for a QB. But now the Giants dipping out saying, well, we don't know. We might actually go DN. We might go defensive end. So it's some mixed match stuff. And sometimes teams do stuff like I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants ain't sitting there like, I know the Dolphins would love to move up and get this player right here. Let's talk about we not going quarterback. And we going DN because that's who they really want, possibly. Because you never know. The Giants, you never know about these teams. Some of these teams could want to be getting out of first, out of the top 10. Sometimes they look at their future and salary cap. Some of them got to get out of the top 10. It's a lot of, you got to understand, that's where it gets so difficult when you talk about the draft and trades in the draft, because you have to understand other teams' salary cap situations too. There's been times where some teams can't afford to be staying up there and getting their first round pick this year. They can afford it, but it's going to put them in prison for a while. So they just get out of the first. Let me go and flip this for a future first and a second right now. I think it was even a year where Denver had all them first round picks, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know if Tebow went that year or something like that too, but I think it was a year Denver had all them picks. They had a partner that was giving them picks just so they could move out. They were trying to get out of the first round. So all pre-draft talk is misdirection. You're right. You're right, Finsanity5. You are right. You can't really believe anything they say right now. These are the moments you can't believe what they say. These are those moments. Because right now they're trying to convince another team, I'm not going after that guy. So, like, think about it. It could be a player that we want at 13, but they're trying to convince a team that they don't like, let me give you an example. It could be a team that draft number 8, right? Then they take a whole bunch of assets and they're wondering, do we need to move up to 12 to get this pick, or do we need to move up to 15 to get this pick? Well, the Dolphins might take them, so we might need to move up to 12. Yeah, but they've been talking about they're not going in that direction. So maybe we just go to 15 and save ourselves some money and less assets to get it. This is the stuff that happens right now. That's why everybody lying right now. Teams even contacted the Dolphins right now, don't even want the 13th pick. They just want to see where they mind at. Hey, what you want for that 13th pick? Hey, what you offering? I don't know. I'm really trying to get this linebacker right here. What you think? They'll offer him something ridiculously great, knowing the Dolphins will say yes. But if the Dolphins say no, that's an indication that, the Dolphins ain't take this deal. We know they should have took this deal. That means they want that player that we just mentioned. We just trying to gauge it. Stuff like that happens, man. Stuff like that happens. They playing this right now, man. It's tricky. That's why a lot of stuff end up not getting done. It's hard to work it. Y'all better go watch that movie Draft Day. I actually like that movie. If you ain't seen the movie Draft Day, it's pretty cool. Kind of gives you an inside perspective, but it's not 100% accurate, but it is close enough from what I know. It is very close. I love that movie. Just the inside feel of it, I love. So if you ain't seen the movie Draft Day or Draft Pick, what is it? Draft Day, I believe. You need to go check that out, man. It's a pretty good movie. And they'll show you some trades moving up in the first. See, and matter of fact, if you have seen the movie, that's the type of moves we need to make. To be able to get out of the first round and then come back in it with 2 picks without people even realizing. That was a good, he made it work. He made that move work, man. TD, your Miami Dolphins gets to host the Super Bowl next year. That's right. We're trying to get the Pro Bowl too. In your hometown, bruh. If your Miami Dolphins make it to the Super Bowl, would you got to the game to support your home team? Man, there's no question about it, man. It's no question. It's kind of on my bucket list to make sure me and my daddy is at a Miami Dolphins Super Bowl. Something that I hope happens in both of our lifetimes where we go to the game together. And some of y'all on here told me y'all was going to get me there. So we go to the Super Bowl, baby. I'm going to be live every night. I need them donations to get. No, I'm just kidding, guys. But I know it'll be a pretty penny. Those tickets be expensive, man. But yeah, hey, that's how it works, man. You want to get in the game, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. You never know when you're going back. Look at some people. Most people on here ain't seen the Dolphins win a Super Bowl, including me. Including me. And it's your favorite team? It's the type of stuff, man, that you live for. But we'll see when the time comes, man. So at least we ain't got to make room and board arrangements because we already in Florida. I tried watching it. I found it boring. Then again, I wasn't as big of a fan as I am now. Hey, go back and watch it then, because a lot of times I'm a movie junkie, y'all. So, man, I watch movies 2 and 3 times, and every time, if you're a movie junkie and you really pay attention to a movie and stay off your phone and doing other stuff, and you listen to the words that are being said. See, most people watch movies and love what they're seeing, but listen to the conversations. Even the dullest movies teach you so much stuff in just general conversations, man. Just listening to the words. But TD, the Dolphins are drafting Zion. Well, where he gonna play tight end or fullback? Jones is 33. I don't see him being a part of our future plans. I wouldn't be shocked to see him traded. I think he takes a really, really huge salary hit, but I also think it would be really, really hard. I need to look at Jones's guaranteed money. I need to look at his contract again. For my first thought, it'll be hard to find a trade partner because I don't know if he's still due money. Because, listen, if Rashad Jones wasn't guaranteed any money, it wouldn't make any sense in the world for us to have him on our roster. So I need to look that up just to make sure I'm not going to be surprised and be like, he's not guaranteed anything, but we still got him. But it'll be hard to find somebody to trade with him. But I think he comes with a pretty heavy dead cap hit. But I think it'll be hard to trade someone because he knows it'll come with a big cap hit. So you might as well pay him and keep him on the roster unless somebody going to trade for something valuable. But who's going to trade and be able to consume that kind of salary at this point? Who knows? But Dolphins are willing to shred contracts and pay money up front just to get you off the books. And y'all don't understand, Stephen Ross is coming out of pocket extra money to do this stuff. People don't understand this. He is coming out of pocket extra money to make these things happen. All right, let's get out of salary cap prison. Let's pay people to shred their contracts and don't give us grief. So he's committed. These are the things people don't notice about their owner. They just always, Stephen Ross needs to sell the team. Oh, man. No, he's committed. He's willing to do what it takes. He ain't no fool either. So I'm all with that, man. See, I saw the Dolphins play in the Super Bowl. I was 11 years old. That made me a bigger Dolphins fan. I could only wish, Edward. I'm jealous of you, man. I think we're stuck with Jones. That's what I'm figuring. TD, would you royal for your Miami Dolphins or your wife Hillary team, the Dallas Cowboys, if both of y'all team in the Super Bowl in your hometown of Miami, Dolphins, Dade County 305, would you royal for your Miami Dolphins or your wife's? I ain't rooting for my wife team. I don't root for no other team. Ain't no such thing as me rooting for another team. No, sir. Not unless that team need to beat another team so my team can prosper for it. That's it. And that's temporary. It's fake. Okay? David Nance. But yeah, of course I'm a root for my Dolphins. David Nance, you will not be giving him any of that 6 and 10. Oh, I don't know what you're talking about. TD, what you think of us getting a 6th-round pick out of Robert Quinn? Hey, this is the plan. I mean, nobody should be shocked about it, Matthew. This was the plan, man. We're clearing this cap space. We're getting out of cap space prison. Why not get a 5th-rounder for somebody that we don't want you right now. It ain't that serious for us. It's not in our long-term plans, and right now we're thinking long-term, even though we're taking it week by week. But we're looking long-term. Robert Quinn ain't nobody who, if he did have a resurgence this year on our roster, he still wasn't finna be in our long-term plans. So it is what it is, man. Will you cover the NBA playoffs on your channel? On the All Sports channel, I'm thinking of covering the entire NBA playoffs. It just get very time consuming, but I'm gonna try my best. 2019 salary cap charge, 17 million. A 2019 team cap, almost 9%. 2019 payout, 13 million of 2019 team cash spending, 11%. Yeah, yeah, that's a pretty penny. And Robert Quinn was the second highest contract on our roster, behind Rashad Jones. So that's all it is. They're just shedding all the big contracts. Think about it, guys. We only got one player on our roster making more than like $11 million, if I'm not mistaken, a year, and that's Rashad Jones. If you don't realize we are out of prison, the Miami Dolphins have done their due diligence. Matter of fact, they've made the biggest splash this offseason. It's just that people that don't know football don't realize it's a splash. They don't realize it's a splash. They've made the biggest splash. Stuff that takes teams 2 years to do, they was able to do it in a month. In a month. Tannehill ain't had to shred up his contract. If Tannehill didn't shred up his contract, then wasn't going to trade for him. The Dolphins would have been forced to cut him. They don't have that trade asset. Plus, they have the dead cap. Robert Quinn ain't had to shred up his contract, because if he ain't shred up his contract for the new deal with the Cowboys, it wouldn't have worked for the Cowboys. The deal wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked. But they were able to get it done. They paying these players, hey, we'll give you a signing bonus. That means you get your money up front. You get your money up front. And you signing a new deal with this team since you cut your contract up. What, the Dolphins paid $5 million to Tannehill in the form of a signing bonus for the Titans? They allow Quinn to get his roster bonus. They could have made this trade happen sooner. They'd have just worked harder on it. But they allowed him to still be on the roster, get his roster bonus, over $1 million just now. Over $1 million they gave him just for a roster bonus, and then dealt him off. He had to be feeling good, and I'm going to get a new deal. Everybody wins. Quinn wins, goes to a Super Bowl contender right now that he knows. Cowboys win. They got depth at the DN position now, behind Lawrence and those boys. Because sometimes they deal with injuries, but they want to gear up. Cowboys know they got to do it this year because they're in the same situation. They're in the same situation that if they don't get it done this year, they got a loaded roster at the max of a salary cap, and they got a great roster. And they getting all the compliment players. They going into the draft with 0 holes. So now they get to draft the players that's going to, if they win a Super Bowl, that, hey, this young 25-year-old is up for it, their next big contract. No, we don't need him. We drafted his replacement last year. So that they can do it the Patriot way. They actually doing it. Cowboys win. Dolphins win because we had to free up all this space. If you ain't in the long-term plan, listen, on day one of next year, this is a fact, y'all, outside of Fitzpatrick and Rashad Jones, if you on the roster day one, game one of this next year, this year, if you on the roster, you're part of the long-term plans. You're part of the long-term plans. Players like Kenny Stills are part of the long-term plans, and that don't even mean he got to be on the roster, but the biggest trade asset in a year or two. Different stuff like that, man. But just like the Cowboys, they got to do it now. Because when Zeke Elliott next year and Dak Prescott come up for their contracts, they got to win a Super Bowl now. Because the only way that people take pay cuts and want to keep it all together is if you win a Super Bowl. You don't win a Super Bowl, everybody go off and get their money because it's about business. It's about business. Don't think the Patriots just letting players go. Some of them staying because they taking pay cuts. Some of them staying because they've taken pay cuts. And they don't mind doing it because it's more valuable to keep winning Super Bowls than just to have that cash in your pocket on hand. That's for the legacy people. That's for the real football players that want to be remembered. Those Hall of Famers that sneak in and you don't even know. Oh, 5 people got in the Hall of Fame this year. Who is that other guy? Oh, he was an offensive lineman for the Patriots. Oh, okay. Didn't even know his name, but he made the Hall of Fame. That type of stuff. So the Dolphins are doing the right thing, man. Quinn, bye-bye. We love you, man. Appreciate you coming in for the little brief stint, helping us out as much as you can. I'm sorry that Burke was trash. But hey, we must move on. And he's not mad about it. Ain't nobody mad in this situation. Everybody won. Everybody won. Excuse me. Who you think Dolphins gonna draft? It's so tough, man. It's so tough. I just can't see us stockpiling all these extra draft picks not to make a splash, move up for something. And I'm hoping it's somebody like Ed. I'm hoping it is if we do move up. And the crazy thing is, we'll move up and get Ed, and half of the Dolphin fans, man, we had a chance to go ahead and grab Kyler Murray. What is the Dolphins doing? You don't know football. You don't. It's perfect. Perfect opportunity, man. Perfect opportunity for us. We've won this offseason. You ain't gonna hear that in the media. You're not gonna hear it in the media. If you start putting everything together, we're winning this offseason. We're winning. We are winning. We're literally winning this offseason, and I love it. We're doing stuff that people on the surface aren't gonna be able to praise today. They're not gonna be praising it today because most people don't understand football. The only thing the typical fan has to hold on to football is big names, the celebrity, the star. That's all most general football fans that just watch games on Sunday and don't look at all the aspects of the game. They hold on to the big names. Look at this guy. He's because they got the fantasy mentality. They got the fantasy mentality with their own team. They want their team to be the best fantasy football team alive that's out there. That's what they want. You got to ride under the radar. Chad says stealth. You got to ride under the radar, make those moves that people won't understand, but they'll feel it. They're going to feel it. They are going to feel it. Ed Davis is nasty. Absolutely. How do you pass up on Ed Davis if you can go get him? Fantasy don't win championships. Exactly. Will Dolphin fans be patient if the Flores system takes a couple of years to get to a 10-win team is the question. I'm glad you said that, and here's why. Stephen Ross said something, I forgot the exact words, but he said something recently in the interview, yell at me or something like that, come at me or something if I'm not being patient. Because I am going to be patient. And if I don't, call me out. Call me out. He said something along those lines I was reading up on. And that's kind of how I felt he was with Gase, but he still fired Gase, which made me like Ross a little more because to me, you gave Gase a pass. Hey, man, it's almost like he told him, I understand the injuries, just keep on fighting through. And it's almost like giving him a pass, but you still fired him. So I kind of like that. It ain't personal. It's business. So when he said that about the patience piece, listen, they're not caring about, hey man, we trying to go be 12-4. We trying to make the playoffs. They're not trying to make the playoffs. They're not trying to go 12-4. They're not trying to win the Super Bowl. They're trying to win every game one by one. They're not looking ahead. If they end up winning 8 games, then they win 8 games. Flores said it out of his own mouth. If we win 8 games, then we win 8 games. That means our young players are good enough to win us 8 games at this point. And as they develop and get better, this is what it's about. Oh, it's a quick rebuild, Diesel. It's a quick rebuild. Drew Ayala, appreciate the donation. Draft a mid-round QB. Okay, I agree, like Greer, and build the trenches early. Either way, it's fins up. Talk that talk, Big TD. I appreciate you, Drew. Shout out to you for all the love, man. And those are true words spoken. That's why I said facts. That's right. That's why I said I ain't saying we ain't getting a quarterback, but let's be smart about when and where we get them. Let's be smart about that. I like Greer at the right pick. You know, for me, man, I like any player in the world at the right pick. If you a bum, then I like you being undrafted. And if we could turn you into something, we'll turn you into something. You see what I mean? I like every player. But at your value, because I am somebody who going forward, I am going to follow the coaching on this team rather than just who's our star. Because I want to, the way I'm looking at the game now is so far ahead of all of that crap, man. I look at the game now like this. Here I am watching on Sunday. Okay, look at Xavier Howard. Okay, I like how he still is able to, on the comeback route, he's still able to close fast, bat the balls down. Look, he's still getting 8 up across the middle. This is week 1, right? And then week 7, look, I love how Xavier Howard is covering ground across that middle. He's definitely improving. I like how, and that's coaching. These are the things. When you see the improvement, you got to look at the play. See, what we do on Sundays, we look at the film, and half of us don't study the whole play that was just ran. We just look at the end result. Drake to the right, 10 yards. Woo. Drake got them 10. Let's go eat, Drake. No, ain't nobody looking at that left guard that pulled for Drake on the right. Oh my gosh, what a he sealed the edge like no other. And until you start studying every aspect of a play in a game, then you won't really know what the issue is. People like, well, he's not explosive. Do you see that him running to this left? If that that right guard would have pulled and sealed that edge, he would have had a 40-yard run. But hey, it was 2 yards. And we keep complaining about him not being explosive because he ain't got good pulling guards. And I'm just giving an example. I'm not talking about any individual in particular or nothing like that. I'm giving you an example. You got to look at football a different way. That's why on that Albert Wilson, do y'all remember Albert Wilson's jet sweep or whatever and high-fiving Jakeem Grant to the end zone? Go watch the live stream. Go watch my live stream of that game. You see me sitting there and I'm like, whoa, I'm getting excited about the play. But what was I saying when the play was over? Oh, my gosh. If I forgot who it was. I thought it was Frank Gore, if I'm not mistaken. Frank Gore just sealed a straight-up man-on-man block that made all of that happen. Frank Gore led the way around. I think it was him. Whoever it was, that's who I was talking about on the live stream. That's what I pay attention to. Real football. That big old play does not even work. It ain't explosive. It's none of that. Had it not been for that nice lead block on that play. And you got to pay attention to that player, the player who made this play happen, everybody did their job, obviously, but he had the biggest responsibility, last man up. If I seal this, I did my job, and if everybody else did, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. It was a thing of beauty, not the run in the high five, but it's the type of run game that you marvel. You literally like, man, if we can have consistency like this, look at everybody engage their man while they're shifting one way. Yeah, we coming towards the runner, but I got my man engaged. I was able to get off the blocks and bam, have a good engagement with my guy where I have the positioning where he's not going around me. It was all the way down the line, and your lead blocker was not tripped. Your lead blocker was not getting hit because somebody getting beat on that side. Your lead blocker had a free lead and saw that linebacker in his face and hammered him. I ain't talking about, I got him too. Frank Gore went man to man, didn't go low, didn't go high, just and sealed that man, and he went through there, man. That's what you got to pay attention to on football. But who gets the credit? Albert Wilson. For running through a hole that was, think about it, they had so many lanes on that play. That ain't no Albert Wilson. That's why people be like, oh, you being hard, TD. Albert Wilson was balling out. I'm not impressed about him running through a hole. I love how he hit that extra burst of speed, him and Grant, where nobody would catch him. But he's not the real savior for that play. He just did his job. Everybody did their job, okay? But there was some important man-up assignments that weren't missed, and they were made, and it made that home run. That's what I admire about football, the real football. When you out there watching it, what's happening on the field. So that's why I'm not going for it. I'm not getting all in love with, oh, this guy's a pro bowler, so he's our this and that. We got this, we got that. Yeah, I'm going to talk my stuff for our players. But football analysis, why did that happen and why didn't it happen? That's what you got to talk about. So once you start understanding that, you'll see why you don't want to take no Kyler Murray in the first round early or move up. If we do, again, we support it, but no. Did you play sports when you were in high school, bro? Yes, I did. I was a safety and a punter. And I'll tell you about that in a moment. It was funny. Bro, and what sports did you play the most in and good at as an athlete? Football, I loved a little more than basketball. Basketball, my career ended on that like in the 11th grade. I was in PE gym class, went up for an alley-oop. The ball was thrown low, and you know how when it's thrown low, you try to still kind of not windmill it intentionally, but it turns out to be a windmill just to get it over, and I got stuck at the rim. And I came down, and my whole body weight went on my hands. Got up, went back, played defense, came back down for offense, and I just hit the ground, fractured my wrist. I felt it like after 2 plays, the adrenaline must have been going, but fractured my wrist, and that was the end of that. And then I went ahead and got me a scholarship into college in the band because I was hold on. Oh, crap. But yeah, what's funny about that is when we was playing basketball and football, we used to always laugh at the band guys. We would actually sign up for band class for 4th period because we didn't have to do nothing. We just sit in the back because that class was only 4 band members, but we would sign up anyway. That way we could just chill. But we'd be in there and we'd just be picking on the people in the drum line. And it's crazy. Me and most of my friends ended up joining the band our later years in high school anyway. So that's how it went for me. But I played safety and I was the punter as well because we didn't have a punter. And I was like, let me punt. It was one of them things like, please let me punt. I'll never forget my first punt in a high school game. I punted the ball. It didn't even go 1 yard. It went straight up in the air. But it came down and hit another player, and we got it back. And I was like, yeah, all-pro punter, baby. All-pro punter. Nah, but I love safety, man. But it was real physical. I felt it in high school. Like making some of those hits going. And I was tall, so I had to get low. And I had to get real low. You could feel the punishment. So you understand what these NFL players go through. Just the punishment of working out with your body, man. Hurts. It's punishment. What's up? Hope you are okay. Yeah, I'm good. We still catching the first game, right, TD? We'll see. I need the schedule first, man. We know who the opponents, but I need the dates for and who. How far did you kick it your prime? I think I was going maybe like if it bounced and they let it go, I probably went over 60. But as far as just a free-form punt down the field, I wouldn't know all-American punter whatsoever. I probably got it down there about 40 to 45 yards past the line of scrimmage, though. So I was probably getting a good 50 in. But if it rolled, I probably got some 60s. But and that's on occasions now. Every punt wasn't clean. I wasn't no punter, y'all. It was just we ain't have one. And I ain't mind. Everybody was actually fighting to be a punter, but they let me because everybody else was kept off the side of their foot and stuff. At least sometimes I can get it down there and straight. TD, we out to a game this year. Of course, man. What up, Well Deck? Who you got in as the NBA MVP? Antetokounmpo, the Greek freak. Antetokounmpo, man. At the end of the day, you don't give it to James Harden. You give it to the person who his team is doing something that is impressive. They are very impressive. I know they loaded, but he's balling. He's balling, man. I'm gonna set you up with a room for the weekend. We definitely catching a game this year. I gotta get the real Fins fans. That's what's up, them folks. You hit me up, man. I hit you up too. Did you move yet? Man, somebody asks me that every week. I've been here for what, 2.5 weeks now, y'all? Yeah, I'm here. I'm in Florida, man. I'm from Poland. I live on loads. Shout out Poland, y'all. Prediction for Miami in 2020. You mean 2019? What you mean, the draft or our record this year? Because that's 2019, not 2020. I don't know what prediction for what. Just tell me that. TD, out here bragging about 40-yard punts in high school. That's right, baby. Hey, you don't understand. You know how I say I kicked it straight up and we got the ball back? I actually did that like quite a few times and we got the ball back. Quite a few times. But anyway, I got the Buck losing in the first round without Brogdon. I don't know, man. I don't think so. Next year record. Okay, next year record. It is premature. I don't believe this, but next year we 10-6, baby. Wild card. 10-6. 10-6. People gonna be like, "Oh Lord, here he went with the craziness again." Yeah, stop hating, man. TDS 6 ain't much, but we can use it as trade bait to move up this year draft. 6 is everything, Matthew, because it's something. We weren't trying to get fair value and be like, hey, Quinn is worth the 4th. Let's get it. No, this wasn't about Quinn. It wasn't about the draft pick. But why not get one in the process of trying to dump that salary? And hey, Dem Funks, you're actually right. Brady was a 6th. You got a point. You got a point. You ain't crazy. I predict 11-5 and the playoff win. Hey, man, it's possible, man. As I wrote it, you said it. 10-6. Fitzgerald gonna surprise everybody and go out with the bang. Hey, y'all, I gotta take this call, man. But hey, this TD Fans talk, man. I'm out of here, y'all. I am out of here. How about 10 and 10-6. All right, peace, y'all. Love y'all.